You're listening to the No Limits Radio Show on the Vets on Media Network.
Good morning. We are live. It is an exciting Saturday morning. We've had some really fun challenges this morning with ADOT. I guess decided that they had to do some construction on the freeway.
And you know what? It's always a Saturday morning, it feels like. I don't know what that is, but it drives me crazy.
I feel like it's a conspiracy against our show.
No kidding. But you know what? And when I leave and I go home, it's open, it's free, ready to go. And I'm like, really? Ugh.
Well, it's okay.
Thank goodness Phoenix is in a grid system because you can get yourself about anywhere without a map.
That's true.
And I managed to get the computer started.
I am so proud of you.
So am I.
I got pictures of you over there doing that. And
Did you?
Yeah, and I already posted in the event letting people know that
Sam's
Michelle,
the slacker, here's Michelle.
No, No. I let everybody know that it was all ADOT's fault and that Sam was running late.
Oh, I was like looking at the time. I was like, okay, 9:27. Okay, I got 3 minutes. Go.
And that Michelle was setting up the board and everything like a boss.
Yeah, well, what's funny about that is that anyone that knows me knows that I try to stay as far away from technology as I possibly can. So that's why it's so funny that I'm the one doing it. I mean, you know, I'm like, God, I don't want to figure out how to do this.
As you get older, man, you're not going to have a choice.
Thanks, Sam.
It's true. It's true. As I get older as well.
Well, and you know, I hear you say that about yourself and technology, but here's the thing, Michelle. You attacked it like you do everything. When you put your mind to doing something, you're like, okay, we're doing this. Same way, I mean, the ride. When it came to putting together the ride and getting all the craziness coordinated, you were just like kind of a drill sergeant.
Well, thank you. Maybe I missed my calling. Maybe I should join the
That's
army.
why you and James get along so well.
Yeah, I had to laugh because, you know, with relationships, you always have challenging moments. I don't care what anybody says. Nothing's like a 2-hour movie. The reason movies are only 2 hours is because you can make believe that, you know, everything's blissful. So the reality is in challenges, or in relationships, there's always challenges. So this last week with James and I was a little challenging, but that's okay. But at one point when we finally got over our whatever was going on, I said, you know, you are such a difficult person to be with. And he's like, oh, and you're an easy woman to be with. And I'm like, yeah? I don't see what the problem is here.
See, I'm typically the one that's telling my partner, I am difficult to deal with. Are you sure you want to do this? Like, I don't know if you know what you've gotten yourself into.
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Well, speaking of relationships.
Yes.
I know that you've got a great story in the W.W.W. And for those of you that are tuning in for the first time, let me just step back a little bit. Welcome to No Limits.
Hi.
I'm Christina.
And I'm Michelle.
And on the board we have Sam.
Hi, everyone.
She makes sure that we sound great. And every week, Michelle goes out to the web and she finds stories that are wild and wonderful and sometimes weird. And since you were just talking about relationships, I know that one of the stories has to do with sex.
It does.
And when I saw this, I thought, oh, man, she knows how comfortable I am talking about sex.
Yeah.
Why does she do this to me?
Well, here's why I'm doing this article, is because the reality is that as it is proven that relationships are complicated, sex is also a part of a relationship if you're going to be a well-rounded couple. Okay? So if there are women or men out there listening, you know, if you want to call in, if you agree or disagree with this Huffington Post about Joanna Lyman actually did this article, but she has 5 things that men really want that they may or may not ask for. Okay, number 1 is more oral sex.
Oh, shocker.
And actually, that's the first thing she says. I'm sure this isn't a surprise to anybody. But, so they like it. So, you know, you're going to have to figure it out, women. A private lap dance from you. Not at a strip club. They want a private lap dance. I know. I said the same thing on that one. Ugh.
I was like, can't I outsource that?
It's fine. It doesn't have to be for me, babe. It could be a complete stranger.
I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with that.
Fine with the complete stranger on the number 1 too. Wait, was that my out loud voice?
Yep, it was. Okay, so anyway, number 3 and 4 kind of go together. It's number 3 is take charge sometimes. So after a long day at work, which I think this article is a little sexist because women have a long day at work too.
Right?
Right? But anyway, after a long day at work making decisions and getting things done, sometimes your man just wants to be told what to do. So grab him by his tie. What makes you think he wears a tie? And take him to the bedroom. Why does that have to be the bedroom? I'm thinking the kitchen. I don't know. I'm just saying. Anyway, take charge sometimes. That's what they say.
Hold on a second.
I love the faces you give, Christina. That's.
Hold on a second.
Well, I'm just saying the article.
No. I'm not talking about the article. I'm talking about your comment
kitchen?
in the kitchen. Because every Sunday we do a show at Michelle's house, Chicks Making Bacon, and we're cooking in that kitchen. Are you telling me that kitchen has been christened?
Well, why do you think I say, okay, hey, don't look at the house, but I did clean the kitchen?
Oh my God.
Those cinnamon rolls you made, that was not ice.
Okay.
Oh.
Gross.
Ooh.
Okay, well, now that I don't want cinnamon rolls this week. Anyway, take charge sometimes and no, he doesn't have to have a tie on and you don't have to take him to the bedroom. But anyway, the 4th one is show him that he's still desirable. So men's egos are fragile too, so sometimes you might want to initiate sex just so that he knows that you still think he's hot.
And I feel like that one's kind of piggybacking on the take charge.
It is.
Because it's like the same thing. They're just saying it in a different way.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And then the last one is stop the games. Now, I had to laugh at this one because this, I don't care who you are, every woman does this, is the word fine. So it says stop playing the games. Fine is one of the most confusing words a man ever hears from his partner, and he usually knows it means not fine, but he can't quite figure out what it really means. And it's true.
Like,
I have to agree with that.
Okay, so since we're talking about the bedroom, are they saying, like, stop saying, yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'm good. I'm done. Like, I mean, what is this? Is this talking about the bedroom or outside of the bedroom?
It's saying both. You need to let him know what works for you in the bedroom and outside of the bedroom.
It's a confidence thing, right? Or like, you make a statement, don't say, eh.
Yeah.
I think this one kind of, one of the thoughts that I had when reading this one is that, sorry, I'm totally distracted.
I know, it's okay.
Squirrel.
Squirrel. One of the thoughts I had with this one is there are a lot of girls that will fake an orgasm, which I just kind of think that is encouraging bad behavior, and it ties into fine. No, I'm fine. I'm good. I'm done. Yep, you got me.
Now, see, I would never use.
Oh, baby. oh, yeah.
That was fine. How was it, baby? Fine. No, I don't use the word fine in the bedroom, but I definitely, when things are going on in my world and I certainly don't want to share it, the word fine comes out quite often.
I think of all of these, I have a feeling that number 3 is not an issue for you at all.
You might actually be surprised.
Really?
You might actually be surprised. Because even though you think I'm bossy and everything everywhere else, that is the one place that I really choose not to be.
Isn't that usually how it is? They want the opposite?
Because at work, I have people, like, I'm constantly here and there, and I have to, take charge at so many levels, like, outside of everything besides the bedroom. I choose to not at the bedroom.
Well, I have to tell you that you bringing this story into our world, there was an article right beneath it, and this is 3 top mistakes women make in bed, and I was kind of curious, so I looked at it, and number 1, comfy clothes. Yep, I totally do that. Number 2, not taking the lead. I too, in most areas of my life, I am definitely take charge. In the bedroom, nope, not so much. And number 3, criticism. I mean, come on, people call me Demanda, so of course. So I am making every single mistake here. Rob, I'm really sorry. Again, I ask, are you sure you want to do this?
Because she's going to be in flannels the rest of her life and outsourcing orals and lap dances.
And I'd be fine with that.
Are you okay with an open marriage? No, but orals, yes.
Yes. If you can get somebody else to take care of that and the stuff after, please. I'm just not okay with bodily functions. And can we please move on to another
Yes, let's
story?
move on to another story because this is turning into a disaster. Poor Rob. Anyway, you know, the last few weeks we've been talking about grandmas, and I was a little disappointed in this article because it doesn't go into a lot of detail. However, we have another grandma in the news. And
Grandmas are getting crazy nowadays.
yeah, and I gotta say, this is from my home state in Columbus, Ohio. A grandmother got visits from the local sheriff's office and child services after she posted photos of her granddaughter in a roasting pan surrounded by potatoes. So she says, Jackie Sheeks, we're not horrible people that they're making us out to be. We just joke a lot, and everyone knows we play games. So I would have liked to know more, like, was she trying to be like Ann Geddes and put, like, babies in, like, neat little things?
Which, those are cute. I mean, you see a little baby
Yeah.
in a hat box, you take a pumpkin and then you, like,
But
carve
have
it
you ever
out.
seen them in a roasting pan?
I have never seen them in a roasting pan.
Well, Jackie Sheeks put it on there, so go grandma. You know, we just love our grandmas these days.
And you know what's interesting is that there actually have been, you know, people say, oh, well, I mean, for those that say, well, it was just for a picture, I think the problem, and what I'm sure sparked the attention of the authorities, is that we've actually had moms who have microwaved their babies, put their baby in a spin cycle of a washing machine. The microwave baby, that comes from Ohio too. So I got to ask, like, what the hell is going on with Ohio?
I survived, so I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we won't talk about the trauma I have for my life, but I survived. No, I'm just kidding. I have great parents, mom and dad. All right, so another wacky one, and since, you know, we had to blame Ohio here, my home state, let's go ahead and blame all you Arizonians who, in Phoenix, Santan Valley.
Well, that's not really Arizona. It's kind of its own little thing way out there.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, hold on. That's not Arizona?
I think she meant Phoenix.
That's not Phoenix.
Well, no, I'm just saying it's its own little town, city out there. It's really not.
She's trying to justify the fact that there's wacky people in the Phoenix area, is what she's trying to do. So it's okay, Sam. Well, it's all right.
Okay.
So anyway, phone.
Christina.
Christina. Okay, so anyway, in Phoenix, Santan, Arizona high school teacher who feared that she was too drunk to drive to work, she took a cab, and then she continued drinking throughout the day until students alerted
That's pretty bad.
officials. Yeah. So this woman, 57-year-old, Jardine is her last name. Kathleen Jardine is a math teacher whose blood alcohol level was 0.205%, which is 2.5 times the legal
Holy
limit.
cow.
So the security officers found a bottle of vodka, a bottle of white wine, and a bottle of Sunny D orange drink in her classroom. And she admits that she was drunk when she came. She took a cab. Good, kudos.
Safe.
Yeah, she was safe, but she did continue to drink when
Throughout
she
the
got
day.
there. I mean, why should you let your job stop you? Keep going.
I hope she wasn't drinking all of those together. Like, I mean, the vodka and the orange juice, that makes sense, but don't add the wine into that.
Well, I believe the problem is that she does have some type of problems. She actually was dismissed from a school in New Mexico in 2011 for violating the district's no alcohol policy. So she's not a first-time offender. She's done it multiple times. What I found interesting about this article is Santan Valley, the district, I guess they're in Florence Unified School District, their response to this was, I can tell you as a district, we can only go off of what's reported on applications. If nothing else is reported to us through the application process or other means, there is no way of us knowing about it. Well, hello, this is like the world of technology. You can search someone's name and see where they've worked and things like that. So I think that's a bunch of bullcrap. So you're telling me if you don't put a school district on that you worked at because you were fired for molesting a child, that the school that you're going to isn't going to be a little proactive on who you're hiring? So Santan Unified School District, Florence, I call bullshit on that one.
But isn't it interesting? I mean, yes, this is in Santan, but this reflects on all of Arizona, because you know this story made national news. You know that everybody's talking about what the hell's going on in Arizona again.
Yeah.
And considering that we have the highest dropout rate, like, I'm not surprised when we have teachers that are drinking on the job. Now, that's not to say that there aren't great teachers out there, because there are. There are a lot of really great teachers. But I think the school system needs to do a better job of checking who the hell's in there. I mean, people could put anything on an application.
Absolutely.
Jeez.
Absolutely. So here's something funny. We love when Facebook, sometimes Facebook can do wonderful things. Sometimes it could kill relationships. Sometimes you can learn that your husband has 3 other wives right on Facebook. How great's that? 49-year-old Darnell, Pixley, from Newberry, South Carolina, was arrested Wednesday and charged of bigamy after his wife spotted wedding photos of him with another woman.
Was he Mormon?
It doesn't say that he was Mormon.
Because if he was Mormon, then it would be okay, right?
It doesn't say. And
Depends what type of Mormon you are.
Apparently he has even more wives. Apparently he has 3 altogether. Anyway, my whole thought was, okay, listen, if you're going to have a whole nother life, you should probably block your current wife from your other wives. They have that feature.
Right.
So, if you're going to have 2 profile pages, like maybe on the one that is for your second wife, you should block your first wife.
I think it's great that you're telling people how to get away with bigamy.
I'm just saying, be smart.
Welcome to No Limits.
Be smart, block them. I mean, come on now. Obviously he's not too smart.
He did a pretty good job at juggling them, though, apparently.
Apparently so. Had 3 of those puppies.
Oh.
So anyway, on to something wonderful.
Why? You know what's interesting? Okay. You hear so often men complaining about their wives. The ball and chain. Like, why would he want 3 of them?
I have no idea. I certainly wouldn't want 3 men.
Maybe
right?
He wants a brunette, a blonde.
I mean, think about that list we were talking about earlier. 3 guys having to... No.
I know. That's like a lap dance 3 times a week at least.
Jeez.
Imagine that. Well, anyway, kudos to you, Darnell. But anyway, you're not so smart. I don't know how many of you knew this, but today is the 75th anniversary of The Wizard of Oz.
I love this movie. This is like one of my all-time absolute favorites.
I taught this play last summer for my kids, and I learned a lot about it. So let's see what you can tell me, Michelle.
Yeah, so here's 7 things that they say most people don't know about the movie. 1, Judy Garland's rendition of Over the Rainbow was almost cut from the film entirely.
Yep.
They thought it was too long. They thought it
kind of dragged on. It's at the beginning of the movie. They wanted it to get to Oz, right? So why have that long song right there?
Yeah.
That's one of the best parts.
And it did go on to win an Academy Award for the Best Original Song, so it's quite interesting. But yes, that was almost cut. Second, director Victor Fleming slapped Judy Garland when she couldn't stop giggling. And then she kissed him. So apparently Judy Garland broke into giggles, and at the Lion, Bert Lahr was making advances to her, I guess, and she just couldn't stop from giggling. So the director walked over, slapped her on the cheek, and said, "Now go in there and get to work." So apparently after it, he felt very bad for what he did, and she overheard it, and she said, she goes, "It's okay, I'll kiss you on your nose," and kissed him on his nose, and it was done.
She was actually a dominatrix.
She took charge. Number 3, multiple lead actors were physically scarred due to the special effects and costuming during this film.
I heard that.
Now, I knew about the Tin Man, the original, the Buddy Epson. And he had like lungs. I mean, he had like a big issue with the aluminum dust that was in the silver for the Tin Man.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, Margaret Hamilton, the actress who played the Wicked Witch of the West, received severe burns on both her face and hands when that fire at the end of it. It accidentally, it rose up before she had descended all the way. So she actually had scars, and apparently the paint that they used for her face. This is a different one. This is number 4, actually. The green makeup was so toxic that she was not allowed to handle food and had to be specially fed because that green makeup was so absolutely toxic.
Oh, and that's scary. If it's that toxic, I mean, imagine having that on your face because your pores are just taking in everything.
Yeah. Number 5, not all the costumes were toxic because the Tin Man's oil was actually chocolate.
I always wondered that as a kid.
Cool.
Yeah, and the horses were covered in Jell-O. The rainbow horses?
I always thought that was so cool.
Yeah,
That's very cool.
I do too. Number 6, the Professor Marvel. You know, the guy that's doing the little show, the reader thing at the beginning.
Yeah.
His jacket was bought from a thrift store.
How very smart economically.
I think that's funny.
I love thrift stores. I got to tell you.
Love them. I do too.
They're great. They're great for a lot of different things.
Yep.
Yeah, they are. And last is The Wizard of Oz is the most watched film of all time, according to the Library of Congress. That's all they say is that according to the Library of Congress, that it is actually the most watched film of all time.
It's one of the best movies.
I got 2 more for you that they didn't bring up that I think are kind of interesting.
Okay.
First off, the poppy scene is not in the book. The poppy field was never a thing. It was actually called the jitterbug. There's a scene where the Wicked Witch was trying to get them to dance till they fell asleep so she could get the slippers off of Dorothy. So they danced and danced and danced, and they almost fell asleep. But then the nice witch comes in and helps them, and that's how they get away. There was no poppy seeds. They just thought it was a quicker thing.
That's
at the
interesting.
time.
That's very interesting.
And also, her shoes were never red
in the book?
in the book. Her shoes were silver.
Really?
Yeah. So believe it or not, her shoes were silver in the book, and later on when they went to pick it up in the movie, they decided red was a little bit more pizzazz, and it connects better. The color red, compassion, passion, love, and all that stuff, which is why they changed it to red in the film. So yeah.
That's very interesting.
That is interesting. So
Nice.
anyway, happy 75th anniversary to The Wizard of Oz.
I love that movie so much.
And last but not least, I have one more other thing, Christina, based on our conversation earlier today, so I thought I'd have a tidbit of information. However, a few weeks ago, we actually had a conversation about bullying and cyberbullying and how absolutely crazy it is. So on the Huffington Post, I told you they have a teen section. A 13-year-old, Trisha Prabhu, she's an Illinois middle schooler, was recently selected as a finalist in the 2014 Google Science Fair for making an application to cut down on bullying. So her hypothesis was, if adolescents between the ages of 12 and 18 were provided an alert mechanism that suggested them to rethink their decision if they expressed willingness to post a mean or hurtful message on a social media, the number of mean and hurtful messages that adolescents would be willing to post would be lesser than adolescents that are not provided such an alert mechanism. So it actually showed that there was a 93% reduction in mean or hurtful messages after when she did her little hypothesis. So she's, so good for her. I hope it turns into an application. And like I said, she's a middle schooler. She's a 7th or 8th grader.
So this is an application that teens are going to have to, first put on their phone, and they're going to have to stop and rethink it.
Correct.
I think, great effort. I like that she saw a problem and she was trying to create a solution. My concern is that so often the kids that do bully, they don't even realize that what they're doing is wrong, because this is a behavior that they're, watching in their parents. And when we've had cases where bullying has led to someone committing suicide, the girls don't even care. They have no compassion and no connection. So
I wonder how they would be able to monitor what's being said and how it can be determined as bullying. Because I know, on a lot of online games and stuff like that, if people want to say something mean, they may not just say it. They might find a different way to say it, or a creative way to say another word for this, or it may not be the F word. Let's make it frick, but we still know what you mean, type of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So that would be an interesting one. How do you monitor that?
Well, I think the reality the idea that she is conscious to
Just to
actually
think
look
twice.
for this. And, her project was based on the fact that adolescents' brains are not fully developed, which causes them to act more impulsively. So, she's put a lot of thought into this.
Right.
And a lot of times we, I think at our age, kind of don't give our young people the credit that, a lot of times we're like, they just play their video games, they text, they don't talk on the phone, blah, 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 and whatever. And you know what? They're not all like that. So there are some younger kids out there that really do see this as a problem, and they're putting their brain to use. So, is it going to work? Maybe, maybe not. But you know what? She's giving it a shot. So I say kudos to her.
Absolutely.
So, Christina, today, driving in with the traffic,
Yes.
you said to me, well, the rule of thumb. And it made me think, well, the
You know
rule
what?
of thumb.
I
where
got
does
wait,
that
hold on.
say?
Hold on. I got to tell you. Shit just comes out of my mouth, and when somebody comes up to me and says, "You said," you have no idea the panic that goes through my whole brain because I am not
did I
thinking
say?
about the things that are coming out of my mouth. They're just coming out of my mouth. So when somebody says, "You said," there's this, oh, what did I say? All right.
So you said.
I know
The
where
rule-
I know where the rule of thumb comes from.
You
That's
do?
I do.
So the rule of thumb has been said, now of course, it has been said, to derive from the belief that English law allowed a man to beat his wife with a stick so long as it was no thicker than his thumb.
Yep.
So apparently the saying rule of thumb comes from domestic violence.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
Do you know why they carried women over the threshold when they were getting married?
So that they could lock him in the kitchen barefoot and pregnant?
Because the women typically didn't want to get married. So they were carrying them in by force. Yeah, because they were young girls. That's where it came from.
Mm.
So,
Interesting.
yeah. Huh. Fascinating. So, yeah, I apologize for using that term.
You'll never use it again?
No, because I knew about it, and I
So
still
you
use
are
it.
still going to use it?
Yeah.
So you encourage domestic violence?
Okay, so just because it came from that, just because that's the origin, I mean, that's not what it means today.
But
We
it's
call-
where it originated from.
But it's not what it means today. The meaning of it today is
What?
kind of the rule. It's okay. So from now on, I'll just use the word the rule.
ruler.
The rule is
There you go.
okay.
Okay. Perfect. So that's
And my
all-
rule was when you are driving on the freeway and there is traffic, as long as you're going 45 miles an hour, it's not faster to get off the freeway and take surface streets because surface streets you have red lights. So that's my rule.
I know, and I just kind of wonder where you got it from. Like, what was the? Because for some reason I can't see like you as a mathematics like person that like you sit there and think about mathematically. You know, blah blah blah, A and Z and to B and divide by X and Y, and it's okay because I'm not either. But anyway, I was like, I wonder where she comes up with that. And she's like, my mom. So I'm like, oh, another one of those things we were told as a child that we still believe.
My mom is the most efficient, insane person I know, so I believe it. All right,
That's
we
it
gotta
for
go.
the WWW.
That's the www. We got to go to a break, and when we get back, we are going to be learning all about resumes. They've changed. I mean, the resume that you wrote 15 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, it's completely different. The whole job search is different. We have an expert that's going to help us navigate that. So if you are looking for a job or if you know somebody that's looking for a job, share the link with the show, to the show with them, and we'll be back in just a couple minutes. I'm Christina. She just cut us
And
off.
I'm Michelle.
I did not.
Oh. Okay, we'll be back. Okay.
Would you like to share your military knowledge and experience with other service members and help them achieve their goals? Hey everybody, it's James from Vets On. You can do just that by becoming a military student enrollment advisor with the University of Phoenix at their Phoenix, Arizona campus. Military student enrollment advisors work with prospective students who've chosen to serve their country just like you. You'll be helping them enroll, choose a degree program, and guide them through their first class. To qualify for this great opportunity, you need a valid DD-214, military ID card from the National Guard or Reserves, a bachelor's degree, or 60 college credits. Military spouses are also eligible with current DoD ID card and a bachelor's degree. If you're looking for a great career while helping fellow military members, then we urge you to contact the University of Phoenix today. Apply now by going to jobs-apollo.com and enter the word Military Enrollment Advisor in the search bar. And don't forget to tell them that Vets On sent you.
Breaker, 19. How about that bandage? You got some ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. If you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, They have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in your life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strong about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
Hey everyone, it's Adam from Vets On. Are you or someone you know looking for employment? Then look no further than iVetX. iVetX is placing veterans with the right hiring companies. Join their mission in putting veterans in inspiring careers with ensured success. Access their national pipeline of military talent for companies. All veterans are pre-screened for 55 soft skill sets, 800 clarification types, education, experience, salary range, and so much more. iVetX can help you find the perfect job to veteran match. Your skills are based on what's needed for success in that job.
You're listening to the No Limits Radio Show on the Vets on Media Network.
Welcome back.
We're back.
So if you were wondering what we were talking, like if you're watching the feed, we were talking about football right there. And we might talk about football a little bit later. But first, let's talk about getting a job. Our guest is the founder of Get My Mom a Job. Thank you for joining us, Michelle.
Thank you for having me.
This is going to be a little bit confusing. We've got two Michelles in studio.
Well, just call me bitch and her Michelle. Then it's simple. Just saying.
So, okay, Get My Mom a Job. Tell everyone how this started.
The story is very interesting because I did not seek out to be an entrepreneur. I always tell people I'm a happenstance entrepreneur, if that makes sense. Meaning about 2.5 years ago, I was looking for a position for myself that was work from home, full-time, and it was a professional position that I was going to receive a W-2 paycheck. I thought, okay, I'm just going to Google and apply for some positions, and I'll have a position in no time. Well, that was not the case. It was hours, days, weeks, months of frustration, and I realized that I was not alone by talking to other people.
Well, so when you were looking for those, because I got to say, when somebody tells me that they're, looking for a work-from-home position, there's a lot of skepticism there.
People tend to cringe when you use the phrase work from home, and when I started the company, I started using the phrase telecommute. This way it puts a nice professional spin on it, because when you do think of work from home, you think of data entry scams. People want you to buy kits to build things.
Right.
And that's definitely not the case at all.
Stuffing envelopes. Yeah.
Those are your scams. I always tell people, think about stuffing envelopes. Why would they ship you all this stuff and have you pay for stamps and things like this? And I don't really understand how the scam works, but I know you have to pay money whenever most people have assistance. So why would they go outside their building to do something and then promise you thousands of dollars a month to do it?
Right.
So,
but did you actually find any work from home opportunities that were legitimate?
That's what brought me to start the company. I call it hitting the honey hole, and that may not be politically correct, but
wait. Okay, stop. I know this is supposed to be a serious, but could you just restate that? Because I will admit I was a little sidetracked with something that was going on.
That usually does grab people's attention.
So can you say that one more time?
I call it hitting the honey hole. I hit my hive of honey with all the jobs just came pouring out, and I found it by building my own system to find the jobs.
Okay, so you got to put up a hashtag hitting the honey hole.
And I got to see what the pictures are associated with that, because I have a feeling it's not working from home.
Stop.
La la la. Okay. Anyway,
I start.
Oh yeah, you started something. We'll just keep going with it though. No, I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh! Don't Google that. No, I'm just kidding.
You know what I have to, like, for those that don't hear us during break, which is all of you, she said, I don't know how I'm going to follow up with that segment. You guys were, like, talking about sex and everything, and then she comes out with hitting the honey hole. I don't know what she was worried about.
Maybe not a good phrasal word, but that's typically how I explain it, because once I got online and realized that there was an art, a system, defining the positions, and I teach people that now. I do a backward search, or you use different keywords. And unfortunately, as job seekers, we're not masters in marketing or SEO or keywords. Who would think, if you're going for a sales position, for an example, why would you need to know anything about SEO or customer service, medical? So unfortunately, you kind of have to become all those things when you're looking for a legitimate work-from-home position. And I made that my full-time job.
So what kind of positions did you find that were legitimate work from home?
Oh, it is amazing. There's positions right here in Arizona in our own backyard. GE hires work from home positions, and they're right in Tempe. U-Haul is always hiring work from home reservationists, or I don't believe that's the actual term, but work from home people to take reservations for their U-Hauls. Mayo Clinic, this blows people's minds. Medical coders, the work from home. Amazon, I mean, I could go on and on with the list. It is amazing.
So these are, I always think of people that are working from home. Like when I think of legitimate work from home, I think of the techies, the computer programmers, or the executives, the CEOs that are able to do that. I don't often think of entry-level positions, and a lot of what you've just described sounds like it's an entry-level type position.
Exactly. Now, 10 years ago, that's who worked from home. If you were able to work from home, you were higher management or technical, because you did everything at the computer.
Right.
But these days, a lot of companies are moving to that model. Not only does it benefit the employee, don't get me wrong, I'm sure they may have them, in their minds when they're planning this, but it also saves them approximately $12,000 a month instead of someone sitting in a cubicle. Let someone sit at home, they have a VoIP system, or they'll have their own system, whatever they call it. They can chat with a manager. Everything is right there. There really is no need for them to be in an office setting, and employees are known to be more productive and call off less. There's no reason typically to call off. If you have a sick child, you could still work. Right. I mean, there's no reason. Now, if you have laryngitis, then yes, there is a reason.
Right.
But it goes far beyond that. Go to the medical field these days. United Health Group, Humana, Aetna, they all hire work from home. And the hospitals, there's telephonic nurses. And now with insurance companies, I don't know how your insurance provider is, but now if you have a question, I know when I had children, this came in handy. Pick up the phone, you call your nurse line. Guess where they're at?
Right.
Working from home.
Right. And those nurse lines are 24/7.
Exactly.
So it makes sense to let them work from home. So what are some of the, let's talk a little bit about, for these data entry, salary compensation. And are they employees, or are they independent contractors? Is that 1099?
1099.
Yeah.
Now this is where it gets confusing for people. There are freelance positions, independent contractor positions, and W-2 positions. The W-2 positions are everything we list in the job guide. I made it where it's only W-2 positions, but what I do on Facebook, because I do have a lot of people, women, mothers who want to re-enter, get their feet wet per se, so they're looking for maybe a freelance writing position or independent contract position where they have a little bit more flexibility, and they're not, because with U-Haul or Apple or Humana, you're still, I tell people, you have to remember, you're still working for a company. You cannot make your own hours. If it's 9 to 5, it's 9 to 5. If it's 2 to 10, it's 2 to 10. Okay. It's an actual job. You're getting a paycheck. This isn't data entry where you're making 11 cents. Putting a rebate into a computer system. This is an actual paycheck, and that's where the confusion comes in. Now, freelance writing positions or freelance jobs, they could be very beneficial and lucrative depending on how much you're getting paid. I know companies that pay upwards $50 to $75 for an article. You need to be a professional writer, and your grammar needs to be correct, and you need to have experience, but it's amazing what's out there. But as far as going back to get my mom a job, I honed in on the W-2 positions because I got frustrated with thinking I was going on a telephone interview. And then I noticed that someone's giving me a sales pitch and they want $2,500 for a website and to sell a travel product.
So it's a business opportunity.
Yes.
Right.
And nothing personal for people who like to do that. I don't see that as a job. And I was very frustrated because I needed an income.
Sure. And different people are at different places. You know, if you're at a place where you've got some money in the bank and you're looking for a business opportunity, those are great. I think the part that's a little bit frustrating is how misleading they are in the ads. You know,
Whoa.
be upfront. Say, this is a business opportunity. Don't market it as, you know, a work from home opportunity when it's actually a business opportunity.
And what's frustrating is you find those on the job boards. So they're in these job databases, so you're thinking, okay, this is a position, you know, and they make it sound so wonderful, and then you call.
Right.
So that's why I really honed in on the telecommute and made myself where I wanted to know the ins and outs of telecommute and help people avoid scams. Every day in the news, there's a new scam, it seems. As far as now, the newest one, I was working with an elderly lady who needed to supplement her income, just not to go off track, but they wanted her...
We go off track all the time.
Okay. They wanted her to purchase a kit that would teach her how to sell on eBay. Well, to sell on eBay, you don't need to be a scientist. You just put your listing up. What they did not tell her is after you spend hundreds of dollars on this information, and most of it was, she sent the guide to me, most of it was just a PDF. I mean, probably took this person 15 minutes to put it together. Did you have to buy products? The sell. It's not that you're just going to, you know, go on eBay and make money, but unfortunately, that's what scam artists do. They hone in on people who are either desperate or, unfortunately, unknowing.
Right. So for some of these legitimate, you know, entry-level positions, what type of salaries are we looking at out there?
Now, they're not all entry level. Like, for example, like American Express, Aetna, Humana, you can get up there into the management, higher management position. Citizens Financial Group, right now, I believe they had, don't quote me on this, but I believe I put it on Facebook, I believe it was a vice president position of some sorts, and it was to work from home. So, but the entry level, you're going to be paid regardless if it's entry level, mid-level, or higher level. Whatever you're going to get paid to work at the office, you're going to get paid at home. They can't say, you're working from home, we're going to deduct you by $2 an hour or $10,000 a year. It doesn't work that way. So for an example, if they're paying their customer service reps, like CenturyLink for an example, they hire work from home customer service reps. So if they're paying them $12 to work at the call center, they need to pay them $12 to work at home.
Wow.
Whatever the case may be.
Really?
Yes.
See, I think they could pay less because you don't have the time driving in, you don't have the gas, you don't have, you know what I mean? Like, I think they could justify paying less.
The position's the same, so how do you justify that? Now, if the position's named differently, then they could, you know, it's a different position at that point.
Okay.
They could pay, you know, what they want. But as far as if it's the same position in the office, like U-Haul for an example, they pay up to $11.50 an hour to work from home. And it's not bad if you think about it. People typically save $2,000 to $7,000 a year if they work from home, and that doesn't even include childcare. Did you know, and I didn't realize this until I was doing research for an article, people spend, if they pick up a cup of coffee in the morning, and I'm not talking Starbucks, I'm talking my Circle K coffee, approximately $1,000 a year just on coffee. Wow. And then everyone says they're going to brown bag it. How many people really do brown bag it? So let's say that you brown bag it a majority of, some of the time, but majority of the time you're running out the lunch. What's an extra value meal? $7 now, $7 something depending. I mean, that could add up to $100 a month. That's another $1,200 a year.
Sure.
Oh yeah, if I get depressed if I look at what I spend at gas stations. Like to stop to get my coffee and then I get a snack, or I see something I absolutely don't need. Like the other day I went in to go get a Mountain Dew, and I saw this little blingy thing. It just caught my attention like a squirrel. But anyway, it was this little flashlight that you put on your keychain, and I thought, that's awesome, because, you know, it's just great. You should have that on your keys when you're out alone at night. You need the little flashlight. Well, it was $5, you know, so you do spend. Everyone should just lock themselves in their house, and it would be much cheaper.
So we talked a little bit before the break about how you know, resume writing and what your resume should have in it has changed. You know, it used to be you're going to have your objectives, your goals. How has it changed? What's different?
What's different now is what I compare the employment market to is the housing market, the easiest analogy I can give. In a housing market, you have a buyer's market, a seller's market, all depends year, season, whatever the case may be. Finding employment is the same way. You have an employer's market, meaning where they have the pick of the litter, and I don't mean any respect by using litter, pick of the litter as far as candidates, or there's not 10 years ago, it was an employee job seeker market where you knew you were going to send out 3 resumes, you were going to have a job, maybe a couple job offers. Right. This day and age, there could be upwards of 275 applicants for one position depending on the company and the open position. And that number is known to escalate if it's in a niche market, if there's not, as many jobs out there.
Right.
So that's what has changed. Competition, it's no more resume writing, meaning it has to be more. What I teach people and what I started to do was build a system. It has to be your marketing portfolio. You're marketing yourself. You're no different than my business, for example. I have to market. I need to network. Well, you need to do the same thing as a job seeker. And that's what I like to teach people and show them how to do it. It has to be more than the bland cover letter or bland resume. And I call it the wow factor. I don't want to use any more words that you guys get a hashtag, but
oh no, if you've got another honeypot one or honey hole. Do you have another one?
I just call it the wow factor. Okay. But I'm sure after walking in on the first segment, I'm sure we could add to that wow factor.
Well, we could, but we won't.
So you actually help people with rewriting their resumes, creating resumes? What is that all about?
We will completely rewrite it. And our resumes, we don't use template formats. What we did was we developed our own, meaning I took the terms, the objective. Objectives are bland and generic, and if you leave them that way, where it's the one or two sentences, I want to do better, I want to move to a higher level position, or a good one I see, I'm looking for a sales position. If it's bland like that, it's wasted real estate on your resume. Your resume, you have to look at it as a piece of real estate, and those areas really need to be highlighted. And nowadays, what's different, applicant tracking systems. A lot of companies, 10 years ago, you really didn't hear too much about that. Now with the internet and everyone doing everything online, when you put your resume into the database, what's happening is when hiring managers pull that, they're pulling by keywords. And once again, now you need to kind of learn the marketing side of being a job seeker. If your resume is not keyword filled, well, you're going to get passed up. It doesn't matter how much experience you have. It's all about how they pull resumes and what keywords they're using. My recommendation is you look at the job opening. You can't just write one resume and send it out to 20 companies. You need to tweak it a little bit for each one. Your professional summary, what we changed from the objective, that should be where you put keywords in and where you're actually listing what you do. If you're an account representative, business development, medical code, or whatever the case may be, and you need to write it to that position in that employer. So it should be no more than 2 or 3 sentences, but it really needs to have something that's going to catch that hiring manager's eye. Next, we take the skills or summary set and skill set or summary of qualifications, and we call that success tools, because now it's all about mindset. It's not really just skills. Let's give them the wow factor. You have 6 seconds to impress a hiring manager if they're going to continue to read your resume or not. If you don't have some type of wording or something that's going to catch their attention, if it's the bland resume that has nothing that they've seen over and over again, it's kind of like tunnel vision. Just think about when you're looking or watching something. Another analogy that I like to use for hiring managers when they're looking at resumes. When you're going through the TV, how long does it take you to decide if you're going to watch something or if you're going to move to the next channel?
I would say a couple seconds.
Same thing with resumes. So I didn't mean to divert, but people usually say 6 seconds, really, and I think of it as when you have the remote. And if you live with a man, you have no seconds because typically they take the remote.
Not in our house.
That wasn't one of the 5 things men want more of, is the remote. They must already have it.
But so we use success tools, and that should be 6 to 9 keywords depending on your experience level. And that is really going to hone in on what you have to offer the company, what you bring to the table, and then they'll continue reading on to the rest of your resume. Instead of just saying work experience or work history, history of success. Your history, where you work, that's your success. What have you done? References, don't add those to the bottom of your resume. There's no need. If they're going to ask for references, they'll ask at the interview. Don't give more information than you need to. If they need them, they'll ask for them. My opinion, references are a waste of time and space, and I'm saying that from a hiring manager perspective. The reason I say that, whoever gives a bad reference.
You're right. Now,
True.
let me ask you this. When you say that they're, not to put it on your resume, I think that makes sense. Like you said, it's wasted space. However, should you, if you're out there looking for a job, even though you're right, no one's going to give a bad, reference, do you still have those available? Should you still, if you're out looking for a job, should you have 2 or 3 reference letters from someone in case an employer asks?
You definitely want to have it, I call it in your back pocket, kind of in your, I call it the toolbox. You definitely want to have it in your toolbox. But what I would rather see, and hiring managers do this now because thanks to the internet, you could find, you were talking about that article about the school teacher. You could find anything you want about anyone online these days. So what I think is even more powerful than references, but you definitely want to keep, you don't want to put them on your resume, but you definitely want to have some in your toolbox per se, so that if an employer asks for them, you can give them. But I like endorsements. And what I think of endorsements is your social media. We call it professional social exchange, and we put that on the top third of people's resumes if they have professional accounts. So if you have a Facebook account, a Twitter account, LinkedIn, definitely. That's a hiring manager mecca, recruiter's mecca. Definitely want to be on LinkedIn, and you want to have a nice picture, your profile, your headline. Everything needs to come together. You can't just slap something up in 5 minutes. But it's when going back to endorsements, when people look on social media, if you're they're going to look for you anyways. They want to know what type of person you are, what you bring to the table. Are you very knowledgeable in the field? Just because you held a position doesn't mean that you're very knowledgeable. And I don't mean that in any disrespect, but show them what you bring. Be different than other people, meaning give them your Facebook account, but if you're going to do that, let me go back. Make sure it's a professional account. Have a separate account. Twitter. I know people who found jobs on Twitter, and I just did an article on how to use hashtags. I mean, it's amazing between Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn.
They're actually finding jobs
definitely.
on Twitter?
Yes. If you do a hashtag with your city jobs, or you could do administrative jobs, anything you could think of, medical jobs with the hashtag, it will pull. You figure recruiters are looking for people. They want to get you hired. That's how they get paid. They're on social media, and that's what they're doing. They're trolling. They're listing their positions, and companies do it now also.
So are you saying to actually put the URL, like LinkedIn, you have a URL on LinkedIn that can direct people right to your profile. Yeah. Are you saying to actually put your LinkedIn URL on your resume?
Most definitely.
Your Facebook URL on your resume if you've got a professional one. And I would add to that, if you're on social media and you aren't using it in a way that, the rule that I always share with my kids is post something, if it's something that you wouldn't say to Gigi, which that's their 90-year-old grandmother, if you wouldn't say it to her, don't post it.
Absolutely.
And I think that rule is one that, and I won't say the rule of thumb, but that rule is one that even adults should consider.
Oh, most definitely. And what they should do also is watch what they're commenting on, meaning and who you follow. Just because it's a superstar does not mean that's going to help your career. That person has their career. It's not going to do anything for your career.
Sure.
Follow like-minded people in your field and watch what you comment on. You may not agree with something that somebody posts, but if you're looking for a job and you're using your social media accounts, really don't come back with a curse word in your phrase or something that would belittle someone. Keep it professional.
I love you, Michelle.
Well, I was just thinking, I'm so glad that they have that cancel button on Facebook, because you know how many times I write something and I'm like, nah, never mind. No, probably not.
I do want to go back to one thing. We were talking at the beginning of the segment about the research that you did when you were out there and you found all of those different jobs. Is that list of the legitimate work-from-home jobs, is that something that is accessible to people?
Yes, and I'm actually in the process, and as I was telling you before, I was hoping to have the new website live for the show. My launch date for the new site is on Monday, but you can still go to the website.
Okay.
But we are changing the site, and I wanted to do this to make it accessible to everyone. So how we're changing the site is we're actually making it where you can search at-work jobs if you want to work in your community or wherever, what the case may be, but also you can log in, you could post your resume, video cover letter, video resume. We offer a free video cover letter service, free resume analysis service, and you can have access to the members area completely free, and employers will actually be able to search our database also.
Okay, so hold on a second. Video cover letter?
Video cover letters.
So what does that look like? Because I got to tell you, I think there's a lot of people that show up a lot better in person than they do on paper.
Exactly, and
Or vice versa.
Well, so maybe a video cover letter isn't your best.
I mean, I hire my company, and sometimes I look at the resume, I'm like, oh, great. They come in, I'm like, remember how you said unless they have a needle sticking out of their neck, don't hire them? Yeah, needle out of the neck, forget it. So there's some people who shouldn't do the video one, but is this new?
It's really not new. It's coming to the forefront, but if you Google it, you'll see companies that have been doing it approximately 5 years ago. I think it's coming to the forefront now, honestly, because of LinkedIn and the other social media sites. I try to push people towards it. The whole thing when I built this company, it started with the basic job guide, and then I realized that people needed help with their resume, and everything I do is outside the box. I'm not your typical, okay, we're going to write a bland resume, we're going to send it out a few times, and you're going to get a job. No, you need to work it.
So what does it cost?
Oh, what I keep forgetting. Because every time I say something, I look at her.
I love how I totally have just stressed her out today, and I really didn't mean to. I didn't mean to.
You know what's funny is that before the show, yesterday we were having a conversation, and I was like letting her know what to expect. This isn't one of those gotcha shows. It's gotcha.
Sorry.
Yeah, so
let me ask this real quick before we move on, because I wanted to ask you before, because I really haven't done a resume for a long, long time. I've been at my place for 5 years, and so 6 years, almost 6 years. But it used to be when I know when I got out of college, which is way longer than that, a resume was only supposed to be a page. Do you remember? It was like, keep it to a page.
I knew somebody was going to ask that.
But that's a good question, because especially if people...
Sorry, I cringe when somebody says one-page resume.
But, the economy has changed so much. There are many people out there that have worked somewhere for 25 years. So, they're now out doing, interviews, and they haven't done them for a long, long time. What is the rule on that?
Okay, you can ask 100 different hiring managers, 100 different resume writers, and you're going to get 200 different answers. My answer to that, and I'll give you my reasoning on it, one-page resumes are not a good idea, not in this job market. I think it's one of the worst resumes that you could put out there. The reason being, what happens if you have a 15-year work history, you're not with the same company? What's happening is you're trying to cram all that information in. You're removing your professional summary. You're removing your success tools. Or I just had a lady recently who sent in for a resume analysis. What she did to make sure that she could get her success tools or skill set in is she put them on the sidebar, left sidebar, and then had 6 companies squeezed in paragraph form. My eyes were sore. So to be completely honest, I didn't even read her entire resume. And I sent it to a colleague of mine, because that's how we do the resume analysis. I don't do them all. We kind of disperse them as far as to, people who are hire managers and things along those lines. And she said the same thing. She said it made her eyes hurt, and it was just too much. And it was a disservice to that person because she was skilled. So do not try to cram. Now, you don't want to do a War and Peace resume. Or resume should not be 4 or 5 pages. I like 2 pages resumes. If you've been in the workforce for 20 years and you need to go into 3 pages, that's fine. Never go past 10 years. If you want to highlight a company you worked for 15 years ago that you think is important, list the company, letting them know that you have other experience. And we usually have like a nice little paragraph, and we let them know that all work history will be given at the time of the interview.
All right, we're going to go to a break. When we get back, I want to dive a little bit more into how the video cover letter works, the length of it, the video resume, And I also want to know, how is it that our listeners can get the resume analysis? What's the cost of the resume? And you've got some really incredible events coming up. The Get My Mom a Job event, the Get My Vet a Job event, the Let's Work Arizona. So there's a lot of things coming up. We'll be back in just a couple minutes, so don't go away. I'm Christina. This is No Limits Radio.
And I'm Michelle.
We'll be back.
Would you like to share your military knowledge and experience with other service members and help them achieve their goals? Hey everybody, it's James from Vets On. You can do just that by becoming a military student enrollment advisor with the University of Phoenix at their Phoenix, Arizona campus. Military student enrollment advisors work with prospective students who've chosen to serve their country just like you. You'll be helping them enroll, choose a degree program, and guide them through their first class. To qualify for this great opportunity, you need a valid DD-214, military ID card from the National Guard or Reserves, a bachelor's degree, or 60 college credits. Military spouses are also eligible with current DoD ID card and a bachelor's degree. If you're looking for a great career while helping fellow military members, then we urge you to contact the University of Phoenix today. Apply now by going to jobs-apollo.com and enter the word Military Enrollment Advisor in the search bar. And don't forget to tell them that Vets On sent you. Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in their life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strongly about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
Breaker, 19. How about that bandit? You got some ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Do you need an extra push to start your day? Well, then tune in to Addie's Radio. Addie's Radio is a show that explores tough questions in an open and fun forum. The program also engages hard-hitting issues concerning veterans' physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health. This show airs every Tuesday from 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Vets On Media Network. Addie's Radio is hosted by Jesse James, a combat veteran of Afghanistan, so he knows the problems that veterans face every day. Jesse provides you guidance each and every week to be a better you. So tune into yourself each week by tuning into Addie's Radio. Go to vetsonmedia.com for show details.
You're listening to No Limits Radio Show on the Vets On Media Network.
That break is just way too short.
She was like doing selfies and everything and didn't finish.
I had to put that that hashtag. Hitting the honey.
hello.
Oh, sorry.
Hitting the microphone is more like
so
it.
sorry. So sorry.
You call me racist.
I would say that. Remember that conversation we had the other week? A little bit of truth.
How is that racist?
Oh, so sorry. Anyway, we have a lot to cover. So we were talking about video cover letters.
Yes. Okay. So what's the length of a video cover letter?
Video cover letter should be no more than 30 to 60 seconds.
Okay, and what are you doing?
What you're doing is you're taking the Blandall cover.
I'm sorry, I was thinking about that hitting the honey.
You can do that in 30 seconds? Sorry. Anyway, on
I'm really going to have to rethink how I explain how I found the jobs.
It's okay. Normal people would have been fine with it. You just were not normal. Anyway, you have 30 or 60 seconds.
Yes, you don't want to go on. You want to grab the hiring manager's attention, and what it's to do is to take the bland cover letter and hone in on what you bring to the table. So what you would put into a cover letter is actually what you're putting into the video cover letter.
Okay, so you're introducing yourself, your
Yes.
skill set.
Always state, hi, my name is. Always finish with, I look forward to speaking with you soon, or whatever the case may be. I look forward to taking the next step, something along those lines. If you're in sales, for an example, and you have you increased your division by, we'll say, 98% over the last 2 years, you definitely want to put any strengths in there, any accomplishments that you've had.
So, when they ask you that question, so you create that video resume, the cover letter. Once you get that interview and they ask you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay.
What do you say?
I'll tell you what to say, but I'm going to tell you what not to say first. And I always tell people this. They really do not want to hear about yourself, meaning they're not your counselor, they're not a psychiatrist, they don't want to know your life history. So what they're really asking you is about your professional self. You want to tell them what you do. For example, if you're a customer service representative, if you're a medical coder, start with that sentence. I've been doing this for whatever period of time. Once again, hone in on your strengths, just a 1 or 2 sentence of what you've done in the field, and then you want to bring it back to them. For example, if you have accomplished, sales is the easiest, so for the sake of simplicity on the show, I'm going to use sales. So if you have helped your division,
she's realized she needs to keep it simple for us.
It's probably wise.
In lieu of
Yes.
time, yeah.
Okay.
excuse me, you would tell them, okay, I have, increased sales for my division by 98%. End your sentence, that's your sentence. Now end it with, would that not benefit your company? What are your goals for your company?
So you're bringing it back to them
Yes.
and making it about them.
And you want to control the interview, so the more questions you ask, intelligent questions, you just don't want to go in there, what's your favorite burger? I mean, it has to be something related to the position. And like I tell people, do your homework on the company. I tell people, always state that after doing research, I found that I'm a good fit, good match for the position. But if you're going to tell them that, really do the research. So when you go into the interview, you're showing that it's not just one-sided. Yes, we need a job. Yes, we need a salary, but you need to benefit them also. Everyone's favorite radio station, WIIFM, what's in it for me? So they want to know what's in it for them. What's their return on investment for them? You want to tell them that.
So, yeah, because you don't want to say I'm a good fit for you, and they say why. Why do you feel I'm a good fit? And then you have nothing to say to them. So you need to do some research so you can say, well, I see that, whether it's a new opening of a new location, whether it's they've struggled with this or that, you want to be able to give them reason.
Exactly, and what they're actually looking for. So their job description is going to tell you exactly what they're looking for. Now take that position, Google the company, and put the two together. Now you're going to have a background of the company, so now you're able to talk intelligently about the company and the position and fit yourself into that position.
Do you share any personal information about yourself?
Not if it's
No.
Business is business, personal is personal, in my opinion. You really don't want to open up your personal life. I always tell people, if you're not going to divulge it all, why divulge a little bit? And quite frank, they're hiring you for a position that you're qualified for, not for your personal life or any baggage that can come along. Leave that at the door. And I always tell mothers especially, if you're on the way to the interview and you just had the craziest morning, and let's say the kids are crazy, writing on the walls, can't get them up, babysitter's late, and you're just out the door, barely doing your makeup in the car. When you get there, compose yourself, leave everything at home, because that comes through
Right.
your being.
Sure. Now,
I have a question about the video.
Sure.
What about quality? Like, are you going to shoot this off your iPhone? Are you going to shoot this off of your computer? And like backgrounds too. If you're, maybe sitting at a window, you're going to be blown out and you won't even see your face.
Those are great questions. And what we do is when people go on the website, we send them how to do a video cover letter. The background, I'll start with that. You want a blank wall, white colored. If you have a white wall, preferably white. If you do not, if it's colored, that's fine. You do not want to show any of your personality. We're a very judgmental society. So if you have a picture in the background that maybe that person particularly doesn't like, or a band, a group, whatever the case may be, let them just judge you, not your knickknacks.
And
But do you want to work at that company? Like, if I've got something in the, let's say I've got a picture of Mitt Romney in the background. Just don't hire her. No, I'm just kidding. No, I mean, if there's something that's political in the background, or a sports team, I don't know, the Steelers.
I guess what I'm trying to say is you want to make sure that they're honing in on what you're saying, not what's in the background.
Okay.
So you don't want them looking at your wall and saying, that's an interesting picture.
And
what is that?
And I would also think that you don't have to accept a position if you don't like that company once you've interviewed with them. But it sure would suck to not even get the interview because they hate the Steelers.
I'd say it's like a virtual headshot.
Definitely.
Right?
Yes, definitely.
I would say it's like a virtual headshot, right? You have your professional photo done for an ID, and it's just a blank backdrop, and in this one, you just happen to be moving. It's kind of like a Harry Potter picture.
Exactly. And you were asking about resolution.
What?
I don't recommend doing it on the iPhone. A webcam, if you have one, your laptop. The only reason the resolution on iPhones are not always the greatest, or upload it and put it into a video modifier and make some changes to it, or have a professional edit it.
Now, do you actually make edits to the videos?
Yes, we will make edits
for your clients.
Yes.
Now, what about the cost of the resume? So do I create a resume and then send that to you, and then you do edits to that?
We will completely rewrite the resume, and I don't mean any disrespect to any job seeker. Typically, the resumes we get, we're not really going to, we're going to use what your job is, but we're not going to use your wording or anything like that. We're going to completely transform it, because like I was saying earlier, our wording's a lot different than the typical resume that you'll see out there. But it also is known to get results, and that's why we do it.
And the cost?
The cost currently on the site is $80 for a resume.
Okay.
And we will have a promotion that we will be running starting on Monday when the new site's live, and that will be $40 for a resume to be written and to have your video cover letter written for you.
$40?
Yes. We're doing it.
That's a darn good deal. I'm just saying.
That's a week of Starbucks.
Not that I want to jump ahead on you, but the reason for it is I want to make sure that it's affordable for everyone. When we do the events, we hone in on particular groups. Two of the hardest hit demographics are single mothers and veterans. So what I wanted to do was make sure that we had a service that would be affordable to everyone. So we're going to run a 90-day special where anyone can come to the website, and that we're not just honing in on the two hardest hit demographics. I understand that there's other families struggling and they need to get back into the workforce, or there's people who've been unemployed for a year.
Now, speaking of vets, you've got an event November 7th, which is Get My Vet a Job.
Yes.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about that.
That one, Bryant Stratton College is hosting, and that is in Virginia Beach. That is going to be full of workshops and also an on-site job fair plus virtual job fair. Plus, we will be live streaming it online.
So people can participate even if they're not in Virginia?
Yes. So people from Arizona can participate and apply for the employers also and see exactly what's going on.
Wow, that's really interesting. And here in Arizona, you've got Get My Mom a Job, and that's August 27th.
Yes.
And is that going to be live streaming also?
No, that one is workshops only.
Okay.
It's not going to include a job fair. The reason being, it depends on the size of the venue. That one is hosted by Connect 5 Family Centers.
Okay.
The reason I chose there and have partnered with them, once again, we had one in May also, is so that single mothers don't have to worry about childcare. It's all on-site.
And in Arizona, we've seen evidence that that's really an issue.
Yes, and I don't think people realize the troubles that they go through.
Sure, sure. And these events are free to the job seekers?
Completely free.
That's great.
And they receive a free resume, free video cover letter, free video resume.
And I'm sure details on these events are on your website?
Yes.
And share with everyone the website URL?
GetMyMamaJob.com. For the event, it's /event.
Okay. That's really easy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
GetMyMamaJob.com. Okay, so I've got one other question.
Okay.
The resume analysis. Anybody can send their resume over to you for an analysis?
Anyone.
And they do that all through the website?
Yes. Once you go on the website, it says free resume analysis. You click that and you just submit it. get anyone. I have men who submit their resume.
So the analysis of your resume. So if someone can send you their resume and you will analyze it for free.
Yes.
You will say this sucks. But if they want you to fix it, it's $80.
Yes.
Okay. This sucks. Hashtag hitting the honey
well,
hole.
we go a little further than telling people that their resume is not good.
Why?
I'll let
Keep
you
it simple.
Yes, I'll let you use your phrase.
We had a question. As far as putting pictures on your resume, should you be doing that?
Twofold. Resume space, I call it real estate. If it's going to take up too much real estate, no, that's where you put in your LinkedIn. If it's going to be a very small picture, maybe up in the right-hand corner, yes, you can. I know a lot of people like doing that. I personally recommend putting under your professional social exchange, putting your LinkedIn, your pictures there, instead of worrying about the resume. It's not always. If they print your resume off, that resolution may not come out clearly.
That's true.
It's not that it's a negative. It's just it may not look as good as you think it is when you upload it.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense. Well, this has been really good, and this has been really helpful.
Yeah, I've learned a lot of slang words. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, I think it's and the event that you have, time, place. If I know where can people August
27th is the Get My Mom a Job event. That's in Chandler, Arizona.
Yes, and it's a register-only event due to the limited spacing. And we have 2 sessions to help as many people as we can. From 9:30 to 12:30 is the first session. 1 to 4 is the second.
And you also have childcare at this event?
Free on-site childcare.
Free on-site childcare. So there's no excuses.
That is awesome. And are you going to have workshops as far as helping people with things there?
Yes.
So you'll have that also.
There'll be interview workshops, video resume, and then Simmons Wealth Management Company has offered to come in and do a financial workshop.
That's great. That's really
That is
good.
great. Yeah, especially for the moms, like you said, especially with the child care being, at no charge. When you're a mom, it's hard to do that. And if you're looking for a job, you really don't have the money to be paying someone to come watch your kids so that you can learn how to do something like this. So that's
Well, very cool.
That's phenomenal.
It's been wonderful to have you on to talk about this. So for those of you that are looking for work, definitely go to getmymomajob.com. The event August 27th. There's also an event November 7th, Get My Vet a Job, which I think is amazing. And then for everyone, Let's Work Arizona, that's going to be January 30th. I can't wait to see what your website looks like on Monday. I'm so excited. So everybody go to the website today, take a look at it, and then we're all going to come back on Monday and see what the website looks like on Monday. And before the break, we were learning a little bit about you, and you are a football fan, is that correct?
Yes.
College, professional.
Professional, and I don't think I want to say what team I like.
Oh, we already know. It must be the Steelers.
It is.
I'm sorry. It's
I do
okay.
like the Cardinals also.
Yay.
So last year we did a football league, a football pool. Sorry, I always get them confused. I'm new to football.
Well, I was worried when you said leagues. I was worried that you bedazzled them.
Oh, I'm bedazzling my team. Yes. My football league. That's the one, right? We did the pool last year, which is where you're picking which team is going to win. But now the football league.
Fantasy. It's a fantasy football.
Fantasy football league. So that's where you create your own team and you pick the people. So I'm excited. I'm totally doing it my way.
I wasn't here last week. What did you guys think about what was going to happen last week's game versus what happened? Did you guys talk about that at all?
What do you mean?
Which game?
The Texans versus the Cardinals.
It was a great game.
Did you guys have any predictions before when you were on the show that morning?
We didn't do any predictions.
I knew that the Cardinals were going to win.
Oh. Well, was there like one of those choice things again, or you just knew?
I just knew.
Okay.
There was no choice.
Because she's in this state and they're in that state, and Texas starts with a T, and she doesn't like the letter T because when she was in kindergarten, her teacher said to her too many times, so now she doesn't like the letter T, so therefore Texas can't be Arizona. That was pretty close, wasn't it?
Those are kind of how my picks go. Yeah. So with the fantasy football league, I've already started to look at all the different players and check them out on Facebook to see how I feel about them, because I'm really not going, like when I look at all the numbers and statistics that they have, I'm like, this doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what any of this means.
It's math.
Again, numbers, right? So what I'm doing is I'm going and I'm looking at each player on Facebook and Googling them to see how I feel
Are you
about
going into
them.
their LinkedIn profiles? They do have those.
I hadn't thought of that, but I guess
They
I
do.
will. Yeah.
They do have
So
So
you're kind of acting like a hiring manager as if you were looking for a job seeker, but
Yeah.
put on your team.
yeah, because whoever I pick to put on my team, I have to like them. Like if they've been involved in some domestic abuse or anything like that,
Drinking, driving.
or if I don't like them, then
if
I'm
they just look weird.
or if they post things that I feel are just mean, then I'm not picking them because I have to like them. I have to energetically support them.
She won't be picking any player.
What?
I already found one that I like.
One. Keyword. I did this all last week and I found one. I found one player.
Well, I have a whole spreadsheet that I'm doing. So
Okay.
So when
I'm
do you have to have this
excited.
done by?
it's the 31st that we're doing the
Oh, you still have time.
draft.
Yes.
thing. Yeah.
You might not get the player you want.
I know. I've got columns set up
Okay.
for first choice. And
It's impressive to see how much you changed with football from last year to this year.
Yeah,
How much
I knew nothing. But my team name is Shiny Sparkly Glitter Blings.
Is
I
that
told-
one word or is that multiple words?
It's
is
multiple words.
Okay, you
It
can't
should
hashtag
probably-
it as one word.
Oh, I should hashtag it as one
what
word.
did I do?
That would be awesome.
That would
Yeah.
take forever though. You better have that
I think
in your
that,
phone.
you know what, actually?
What?
It would be really smart to have an NFL team bedazzle the hell out of their uniforms.
for breast
Because
cancer.
They already do pink in the,
no,
the 1
no.
month.
Bedazzle it. Rhinestones, sparkly.
Wouldn't that cost you can poke an eye out with a
What are you trying to do? It's football.
Because the other guys would run away from him and be like, ooh, don't get that glittery shit on me.
Oh, maybe I'm at a strip club. Get that glitter away from me.
Well, obviously, we're not a sports show, but for those of you that do like sports, JD's Rockin' Sports is up next. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
This has been No Limits Radio. Thank you again, Michelle, our guest, for coming in studio
Thank you for
and
having me.
and braving the show with us and sharing all about Get My Mom a Job. I'm excited.
And for everyone else who knows a little bit about you and I, we have Chicks Making Bacon tomorrow.
Yes.
So
Which-
go on to Facebook and like our page, Chicks Making Bacon. And
It's kind of
we have a
like
show in
an
the
I
morning.
Love Lucy show, if you think about it.
Absolutely.
It's crazy. If you liked the I Love Lucy show, you got to check out our show.
Yeah, because it's just like it, but it's in color instead of black and white. But besides that, it's pretty much all the same.
Hey, Lucy! My mom! All right. We'll see you later. This is Christina.
And I'm Michelle.
Bye.
What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars